Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It is fantastic to have you here as ever because we are going to be commencing another project that's going to be extremely terrifying. Not only do I want to make feather Damascus, which is what we're going to start today, which is Damascus where you have this beautiful feather-like pattern, but I want to make feather Damascus and then make a KRIS style dagger. We're not going to be making an authentic KRIS, but what I want to do is try making a wavy blade and grinding a wavy blade and making a dagger. So this is going to be one difficult project. I'm excited to be bringing you along. I'm also excited that Squarespace, the website building platform that makes it super duper easy for you and me with no coding experience to build our own websites, maintain our own websites, and be able to have our online presence out there in the world. I'm pleased that they're sponsoring today's video and giving you guys 10% off your first purchase and a free trial at the link below, squarespace.com/forge. Thank you, Squarespace. Thank you to those of you that are here. We're going to get started. We have a lot of Damascus to make. So we got it forged out. Now this is a lot of forged out. Now what we've done is we've made our C's, and I'm now straightening the bar, and we're gonna let it cool down, and we're gonna stack it up. Now the plan is to hopefully do my first ever successful feather Damascus. I think I once tried it, or rather at least tried it on a pattern that really it wouldn't have done much to, and I didn't have a great deal of success. So while this cools down, we're going to begin the making of a tool to help us out. And to do that, we're going to throw this bad boy in the fire. In its former life, it was a hammer billet, ready to be punched and made a hammer out of. Now, it's going to become something a little different. cutting it up for our next stack of 9 sets of W's up, which means, considering we cut it into 12 the first time, now we're cutting it into 9. 111 W's running up it, which as far as I understand is a rather dense number of W's for what a lot of folks are making their feather Damascus with. But I think it's going to be necessary because, actually I haven't even explained how this is going to work. Let me show you. So we start, we make a W. You know how we do it. You've been subscribed to the channel for a while. It's pretty simple. We round the bar and then we flatten it. We then stacked it up 12 times and then decided that we'd do a step before this, which is getting it to 111 W's to make it more dense. But once we have those 111 W's, we will take the tool that you saw us make, the tool that you saw us weld to a bit of plate, because that tool is going to go in the hydraulic press. We're going to drive it down from the top into the middle of the W's, and what that does is that's going to be pulling down the material, because of course you remember it's rather thick at the edge. It's going to be pulling down the material, dragging it down. We can split the thing in two. That material will be dragged down. We can clean these surfaces. We can put it back together and we can weld it. We can cut off a slab and draw that slab out into a wavy KRIS blade. Now, as I think I might have said, we're not going for any sort of historical KRIS or anything, simply trying to make a wavy blade. Part of why I want to do this, because lots of folks have been suggesting that we make one of those massive, long, curvy swords, which I think is called a Zweihander, something like that. But people have been suggesting that. People have been suggesting a traditional KRIS. And then, to top it all off, Liam Hoffman of Hoffman Blacksmithing made himself a little KRIS dagger, and I thought that was just the coolest thing. And then to top it off of that, I kind of enjoyed the process of challenging myself with the rapier, and I want to try something where I have, like, no idea whatsoever how to grind a KRIS blade, but I want to jump right in that deep end, just like the deep end of making feather Damascus. So back to the feather Damascus. This is a terrible drawing, and I was going to use this drawing to explain why it is that we upped the density, because when we forge weld our block, it's going to end up really looking like this, right? Now, proportionally, that doesn't work out too well for the massive long piece of material that we want for a KRIS. If we take this and then we stretch it out, what we do is we lose the density of our pattern. So we went and multiplied the pattern by 9. It might be a little much. Oh well, we're multiplying the pattern by 9. We multiplied the pattern by 9, and so that's going to increase our density and mean that we can draw out the KRIS and hopefully not lose the pattern. And it'll be interesting. I don't know what I'm doing. Ugly duckly! So here we go. We got a line marked in the middle there with a cold chisel. We have it the way it needs to go in the press. Forge is hot. Here is the wedge that we're going to be driving down in it. Nice and thick at the bottom. Hopefully that helps drag down a lot of the material that we need. Now time to take this, put it back in the forge. We're going to let it get screaming hot. And then 25 tons of force will hopefully help serve to make us a rather nice feather. Okie dokie! Here we are you? No, really? I mean, that is just so. That's. Come on, it's so close. Oh no! Here we. I'm gonna take another heat. I'm too scared. Here we go. Heat number 2. I'm gonna slow the press down. Making sure that we take it nice and easy and it goes into the middle. Oh, it's sliding off. Get up there. Right, let's take another heat, see if we can straighten it. Uh-oh, we got a fire. There we go, we did a thing. Most of the time things break when I don't want them to. This one doesn't break when I do want it to. Right, let me give you a couple tips about using a big angle grinder. Firstly, this is one of the most dangerous tools in the workshop. The amount of velocity that there is with this blade spinning at the speed that it spins with is unbelievable. If you don't have a guard on your big grinder, you're really playing with the devil, because if a disc breaks and you don't have a card that's protecting your legs and the most important parts of your body here, your femoral artery, you're going to be in a whole lot of a pickle when this thing explodes, hits your femoral artery, or worse. So make sure you got a guard on it, a secure grip. There's going to be a lot of jump when it starts. Make sure that your cable is clear. And everywhere where you're throwing sparks, it doesn't matter. You're not going to set fire to anything. General rule of thumb, higher the angle, the more aggressive your cut, because you reduce the surface area of contact. Lower the angle, the less aggressive. So I'll use a high angle for stock removal and a low angle for finishing. So here we go. Another tip for using a big grinder, I quite like having a lower vise. A normal vise might be up at kind of belly button height, you know, where you're doing filing and hacksawing and stuff. With the big grinder, I like it low because I'm not having to hold it up and apply pressure from up here in my body, but I'm able to be at a little bit of more of a natural level for where my arms want to sit and where my arms are happy to apply pressure. Okay, so we've forged it. It's cooled down. We've ground the surfaces that should show the pattern free of scale, as you can see. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the ferric chloride, and we're going to see just how it looks. Okay. We're gonna let it etch a little bit, then I'm gonna show you. So while that's etching and I've got a few moments, I wanna work on my website a little bit, because funnily enough, I actually don't even have a gallery on there, but it's very easy to build one here with Squarespace. All I gotta do is come up here, hit gallery, it's gonna make a new gallery. I'm gonna type in past work, and then it's gonna take me to a page where we can start importing photos. Okay, so I've got a lot of stuff on here. I'm gonna run you through it. It's super simple. You hit a little plus here, you select image, you drag an image over, you type in a title, you throw a description on it, you can add some tabs, you can choose if you want comments or not, and you publish it. That's simple. And this is why I love Squarespace so much, because as a craftsman, your work is constantly evolving, you constantly want to update it, and it is a pain to have to contact a web developer, pay an enormous amount of money to get them to update a website as your work evolves and as what it is that you want to share with people changes. This is why I first started using Squarespace, because I was able to do whatever I wanted myself just as easily as this. Just as easy as this. Drag and drop the photos and you get a beautiful gallery where you can see, for example, this Kopesh that Liam Hoffman made from a sword I forged. This sculpture I recently did. They've got 24/7 customer support. You can build an online store on it and give your customers a really simple buying experience. They can pay by card, they can pay by PayPal. You can showcase your work and it will be the backbone to your brand and the things that it is that you make and love to make, be it your photography business, be it your blacksmithing business, be it your woodworking woodworking business, whatever it is. When you build a website on Squarespace, you are in control, which is a really, really great thing because it takes no time at all to do, doesn't require any coding experience, and it's frankly a lot of fun to build a website. Thank you, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video because they are offering you guys 10% off your first purchase and a free trial if you go to squarespace.com/forge. They're a wonderful supporter of the show, so thank you, Squarespace. Thank you to those of you that are building your websites on Squarespace. Be sure to send me a link to your website. Always love having a look. Remember, that link is squarespace.com/forge. For now, should we have a look at the Damascus? I think we will. So as you can see, the Damascus pattern is looking awesome. For my first proper attempt at a feather from W's, I'm pretty excited with how that went. It was not as difficult as I thought. There is, of course, still weld from when we put that together. In there, we'll grind that out. And on tomorrow's episode, we are going to be forging the blade, forging ourselves a KRIS dagger. So make sure you subscribe and tune in. Make sure you go to the link down below to start your Squarespace trial and get 10% off. Thank you, Squarespace. Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure. I will see you tomorrow.